Right, so here is my fuel tank. This is not the original VAL tank. VAL tanks were steel. This is an alley one off something much more recent, but at least we know it's not full of crud, it's not going to rust. And what I've had to do is adapt the position of the door to be sort of below where the trim strip's going to be. So the trim strip goes where that black line is there and is about 3 inches deep. So the door's going to go there, just beneath the trim strip. Now, previously, that would have been well out the way of the trim strip. I think it's above, in fact. I can't quite remember at this stage. Anyway, the reason for being here is I've got a knackered fuel sender unit. That's all destroyed and mangled in there, so that's not going to come back to life. And also the 3 pins are now 1 pin, so that's no good. Basically, it's fucked. We'll get rid of that. Now I've got this other feed there. There's my return is there, and my outfeed is under there somewhere. So I thought I'd use that as an auxiliary diesel tank, diesel heater, what would you call it, pickup point, diesel fuel pickup point. So what I've done is I've measured the depth of the tank, and I've left about 1.5 inches off the end so that if somebody accidentally leaves the diesel heater on, there's always going to be 1.5 inches of fuel in the bottom, which should get you out of bother if need be. So I'm just going to pop that in there. Again, this is all made up of bits and bobs I've got around the place, but that will be absolutely fine. No leakies, just nip that up. So there we go, we've got another little jobby job done there, and on to the next one. Now we need to make, if you look at the coach here, this piece here ties in with these legs. That's what the body goes into, and basically there's another trim strip here, goes all the way along, and then there's a chrome bit and then a crinkly bit, corrugated bit down the bottom that sort of folds around this curve. So I don't think previous owners done that. That's definitely well old, so it must have had a locker here. I'll have to check the old pictures of it, but anyway, that beam and the bottom beam is missing. So what I'm going to do, because I can, is duplicate this leg, and I'm basically going to screw it into the existing one. I'm going to make a notch out for a new piece there and there, and I'm going to run it along to there. If I'm feeling super clever, I might also make a third leg structure in front of the tank there. I just want to see how much room I've got when I put these in, and that will give it a bit more protection from side impacts and stop it flapping around in the wind, because you don't want a sheet of alley that long flapping around in the wind, because it will if it's not supported. So yeah, just going to make a little template, then I'm going to have a play with some ash, which I haven't done yet. Okay, so here are some bits of ash I got from the Wareham Wood Shop, local sawmill and carriage repair specialists. This one's even got a live edge on it, but I'm not interested in that. So yeah, this is what I've got, and this is what I'm going to have to make work. So I think that one's what I'm going to use to make replicas of these. That one possibly for the bottom strip, and that one if it's long enough to make the middle beam, which is the fatter one, which we shall see. Right, there we go. There's my template for one of them. They're all different, by the way, of course they are, because nothing's actually the same on this coach. That will be the first one for there. Well, that didn't go so well, so I followed my line, but little beknownst to me, the jigsaw blade was having other ideas and was deciding to cut completely on the piss. So yeah, so I think this one's resurrectable. I have got a thing called a bobbin sander, which I've never used, but I'm going to get out the box now and have a play with, because that has a table and you can basically offer it up to spindle and just take off material as needed. So I think this is savable. So I need to figure out via internet why my jigsaw blade is completely going on the piss when it's flat. Is it a knackered jigsaw, or is it, I don't know. I don't really know much about them. I could, well, I've got a circular saw, but that don't cut round corners. Behold, ye bobbin sander. Bought it about 3 years ago when I first bought the coach, knowing that I'd need it, but never put it into action. I've got a bunch of bits here. I'm guessing this is the, no, that's a belt. I'll figure it out. I'll come back to you. There we go. And I watched this. I wasn't expecting this. That's fantastic. So I'm going to give it a go with 2 hands, not one. We can see later. Right, so with a combination of the belt sander and the bobbin sander, very interesting machine, never used one, I have managed to get something near. And I just need to put an infill panel down there to there, which would be easy enough to do. I need to notch that out. Yeah, and I might see whether this works over there as well. Like I say, they're all a bit different, and similarly there as well. And if I can get that jigsaw to cut as good as a bandsaw, we shall see. It might do. Then I won't have to fanny around so much with this. That one's straight, the back two looks straight, so I think I should be able to do with a circ saw quite easily. Yeah, let's have a little play and see what happens. Morning people. So I ran out of battery last week when I was last here working on my, working on this section. So I'm just going to do a quick recap of what happened after I ran out of battery, and then hopefully a vision of what's going to be achieved today. Right, so after my battery contact, I made the centre runner, the lower runner, put a nice radius on the bottom, although it's not radiused enough, so I'm going to have to get a bigger router bit to do that. But this is all glued and screwed in position, very solid. But what I need to do is, there's a missing leg here, so I'm going to reinstate that. I've cut a bit of wood ready to do it, so that will sort of sit there and come down and lock in with these. Secondly, my good friend Stuart has alerted me to why there's this weird step-in on the legs, and I'm told it's because there was foam there, and these panels were basically only pinned top and bottom, and then you've got the chrome crinkle strip from there to there, stainless steel. So my panels, and also considering what's been done on the coach in recent times, this one doesn't have a leg in there. Sorry, a leg in, a notch in. I've only got about 5mm there. That I'm sort of happy to patch, but ultimately I was going to do some small countersunk heads there, and basically just put some brass screws in there to avoid any dissimilar metals corrosion, because I need to bond, as previous owner has done, bond the next panel onto this, and then that's how your top coat is put over. So yeah, you can see a thin layer of bond on the joggled panel, and that will allow the seams to match. And that's the other reason why I want to put the seam here, is because it will then match. Again, there's some unusual, I don't know quite what's happened there, but it seems different to the one behind. Seems a bit more proud than that one there, which is very good. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get this a bit more complete. I'm gonna get some wood preservative on it. I'm gonna try and figure out a frame for this guy. As I say, it probably needs to live about there. There's my trim strip there. So yeah, that's going to take some fanning around. And then what I might do once I get this done is I'll get these side strips all the way to the front arch there, and I'll work out where all the seams need to be, and I will hopefully get this side at least sort of the midsection of it as it should be, and ready to be etch primed and put on. Okay, so we have got this piece made up. It will bend over when I screw it in, so I'm going to bond it and screw it to that, drill and screw to that, use some Craig screws for that. Yeah, nice. On to the next one. So there we go. That's kind of what I need. I'll show you these in action. I don't know where they're going to go exactly yet, but that will go there and in there, and then the other one will go there, and my frame will be then supported, hidden out of sight, because the alley will be bonded onto this, and won't get destroyed. Oh, and the other thing is they're mounted flush with that edge there, so I can basically then seal all this off, because obviously I don't want diesel fires getting into the cabin, so that'll have like a aluminium lining to it, so that no sort of fuel or vapors or anything can get into the cabin. That's all steel, which I fabricated up to prevent any fire sort of immediately spraying up into the into the cabin. Not that there'll ever be a fire, because diesel isn't like that, we all know that, but that's just me, that's what I do. So yeah, I just remembered I need to make up 2 little bottom additional braces there, like that, and then I shall start offering all this up, gluing it and screwing it in position, and then I'm going to get the sheet on and mark where that goes. Right, so hit a little bit of an investigation, a need for an investigation. So my trim strips that run all the way along the side are these, which one day will be nice looking. They're basically 100mm depth, and I've not quite been sure that panel there, because this has all been remade, I don't know whether that panel is where it should be in the center of the strip. I'm going to assume yes, but what I do have a bit of a witness panel here, if you want to call it that. So that ties up with my arch there, assuming the arch is correct in position, the tub. That looks pretty good. Ties up with the panel there, and I can see I've basically got my trim strip evidence is that's 100mm. So what that tells me is it's kind of 45-50mm down from this. So it's somewhere in the parish, maybe 5mm out. Maybe it's bang on, and maybe that wheel tub is not right. But long and short of it is, my trim strip goes at 100mm for 50mm above, 50 below, and so that's where I need to account for my door frame. Now the door frame, obviously flap closing to the rear like that, and it's held in by screws into something. We haven't any evidence of what something was, but that doesn't matter, because I'm going to make a new something, and I'm going to make it so it's about, I think maybe about 10mm below the trim strip, and that will give me enough access to get into this tank. Remember, this tank's higher than the original VAL tank, and I've had to cut into the floor the floor was lowered, as you know, by yay much, and this gives me good access to get the nozzle in. So about there. So a little test fit. This bloody cow, honestly. Oi, shut it. So this little clever clogs, he rejected his mummy and tried going to a Jersey cow because she had better milk. Now he won't go to his mummy, and the Jersey cow's being milked, so she's got no milk for him. So they had to take him away and put him in with the other orphans, and now he's having a proper whinge about it all day long, aren't you? So put a sock in it, okay? Yeah, you, silence. Anyway, we move on. So we've just got my frame sort of roughly in position. Obviously got to bring it all forward and screw it in position, and yeah, so then what I need to do is add the alley to this, and then mark it from behind in this aperture, offer that up to the alley, draw around the skirt, that bit, the round bit, and then that will give me my cutout for the hole. That'll need leveling up too, but yeah, it's making sense at least, and that is definitely going to be a lot more robust along there, so I'm happy with this section so far. Right, that one's done. Temporary in position. Turn the air pressure down on my joggler because my gauge was knackered and I didn't realise it. So I've now, look what I did, I bloody stretched the metal so it ended up being all crinkly, so luckily I can cut that and make it go at the front. But yeah, that can basically, I've just marked up the cutout for the fuel there, and as you can see I've got to trim that little lump off that's down there. But I knew how to do that, and then I'll just sort of eye it up from here and see how it looks. Yeah.